Recently, someone asked me, Lede, why did you start a podcast? Is it because it's a trendy thing to do right now? I mean, everyone who knows me knows that I don't just do anything just because it's trendy. I'm the kind of person that actually tries to avoid trends with the hope of forging my own path. However, this podcast thing was something that I felt was super important for me to get off the ground, especially because of the industry that I'm in. And I didn't just want to make people hear my opinions. I wanted people to hear the opinions of the amazing people that I've worked with over the course of a decade. If you don't know by now, I work in the tech industry. I mean, I've tried my hands on back end, front end, DevOps, mobile, branding, design, you name it. And I've held roles like UX engineer, front end engineer, engineering manager, chief technology officer, and now I'm exploring the realm of products as a VP of products in a company I work at. Now, I've done this for 10 years, and with all these experiences that I've gained over the years, I still feel like I know nothing. And I started a studio called Dollar Studio to help early stage startups bring their products to life to hit product market fit and boost the confidence of their investors. However, still, I feel like I know nothing, just like Jon Snow. Yeah. Now I've worked with some amazing people, and I just thought everybody gives platforms to CEOs, the professional thought leaders, the investors. What about the amazing people that actually run the day to day? The amazing people that I've worked with over the years. Are their opinions heard enough? Probably not, right? So these people are actually in it every day. Tech is their life. Like they live and breathe tech. Regardless of the role that they hold, they live and breathe tech day in, day out, midnight, under the sun, under the rain. Um, so they either work in real tech companies or they run a freelance business or they build their own products. Now, these people are not the type to give hot takes just for the sake of views or shock value. And these people are actually in it. So there's a lot of valuable conversations that goes unheard and untapped, right? Because they are not the kind of people to chase views, you know. So I'm actually going for real conversations. So this is why the Pulse of Tech exists, right? And it's to have these conversations and build a community centered around self improvement, growth, career development, advancement, mentorship, just real people busting their ass to build something amazing. No bullshit, right? So this is a Pulse of Tech episode, in case you don't know by now. It's something a little bit different. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. Usually I have guests, and I do the whole hello everyone, welcome to the Pulse of Tech podcast. But as like a end of the year present to you guys, I'm going to do something a little bit different and also explain why I started this podcast. And we're going to take a moment to reflect on the incredible conversations that we've had throughout this year. So, in 2025 so far, we've had an amazing lineup of guests, right? Eight lineup of guests with 9 episodes, and each of them with insights that challenge us, inspired us, they gave us a clearer picture of the world that we're building in. So today, like I said already, I'm going to be sharing highlights, lessons, and the moments that stayed with me. So starting with episode 12, it's called the Freelance Mindset with Daniel Abudu. Now, this first conversation with Daniel sets the tone for the entire year. He broke down what it really means to have a freelance mindset, ownership, discipline, treating your work like a business. Fun fact, Daniel Abudu was actually the first certified Webflow expert in Nigeria, and I'm very proud of him, super proud of him. So here's my biggest takeaway from this episode. A freelancer isn't someone who is free, in quotes. A freelancer is someone who takes full responsibility for the value that they create. don't overcommit, protect your energy and capacity so you can maintain the quality and avoid apathy for missed deadlines. I think apathy was something that we really touched upon a lot, and it's something that should be avoided at all costs if you want to be successful as a freelancer. But it's very easy to fall into that trap, and it really starts to kick in when you take on too much work and you're just tired, you're just stressed out. And we also talked a bit about personal branding, and while we all obsess about building a personal brand, Daniel suggests that we should just be visible. Just be visible, make yourself easy to find online by your potential clients. Simple, right? So let's go on to the next episode. So this was episode 13, and we were not done with Daniel yet. And it's the power of no code tools with Daniel Abudu. Now, in our second session, we talked about no code tools like Webflow, Framer, Airtable, and how they help businesses and teams, especially marketing teams, work faster without relying heavily on developers. Now, we talked about why they are very essential for early stage startups without the hype, right? Just clarity on how to test ideas very quickly without the heavy engineering costs. Now, my takeaway for this episodes were marketing teams, most especially, being able to update their website pages by themselves, speeding up experimentation while they're not disturbing the developers on the team. Disturbing is a strong word, but they are freeing up the developer to work on like the core product work. So the marketing team can experiment as much as they want on the website, as long as they have someone that's dedicated to doing that. They can run their A/B tests without the stress. And I can tell you for free, right? If your website is not built with a no-code tool and it doesn't have like a strong CMS backing it, there are issues where your marketing team cannot do a lot of experiments, right? They just take what the developers give to them, and they have to keep on coming back and saying, oh guys, I think we need to test this out. But the developers have a roadmap that they are following, so they have to squeeze you in as a marketer, to say, we would work on your new feature later, maybe in 2 weeks time, and then in 2 weeks time something else can come up. So you don't run the risk of falling into that trap. If you build your website with like a Framer or a Webflow, someone in the marketing team can just handle all those changes, right? As long as you have all the systems and styles in place. Now, some of my takeaways from this is you need to choose tools with longevity in mind, right? Always pick established tools that are well supported, even if they fade in the long term. The value that it generates now can outweigh the future risk. From this episode, we moved on to blending culture, business, and technology in a meaningful way. Episode 14 is tech-enabled growth for the Afrobeats industry with Jefta Aleton. And this conversation with Jefta was both enlightening and a little shocking, to be honest. We explored the massive global rise of Afrobeats and the hidden revenue that the industry is losing. The industry is losing a lot of revenue, and it's basically because the infrastructure has not kept up. Now, one moment I won't forget in this episode was learning that Justin Bieber sold his music catalog for over $200 million. The same value of some of the big tech companies that we know, the same valuation. And at that point, I was thinking, am I sure I'm not in the wrong industry? You hear some millions of dollars at some point, and you're just like, man, am I in the right industry? Did I pick the best possible way for me to make money? But I asked myself that question a lot. Last year when I got married, I figured that I should actually also have a taste of the wedding industry because there's so much money that's in that industry. But I digress. So Now, we have a problem with music metadata. African artists release music without including the proper metadata of the people who wrote the song, who the composer is, who are the people that contributed to the song, and it prevents a lot of proper payments and international licensing opportunities. Now, Jefta is building a product called Spireworks to solve this problem, and there are also no schools teaching the business side of entertainment. Digital platforms like Scripo Academy are filling the gap with online courses, and Jefta is also involved in this as well. So Jefta is a real one, is really contributing to this industry. One of my takeaways is this infrastructure cost is not a limitation. It's like an invitation to do more in this industry. So yeah, we went from culture and creativity, we shifted back into product building, specifically a system many teams utilize but very few use very well, and that is design systems. So episode 15 is why most design systems fail with Destiny Ihejirika. Destiny is currently a design system architect at Lululemon, and we had a lot to unpack about why design systems fail. Me being a design system enthusiast myself, I've built a lot of design systems, and design systems are supposed to reduce chaos, but sometimes they cause chaos by themselves, right? Because people tend to overcomplicate it very quickly. It can cause chaos within your teams. We talked about the human process and the organizational issues behind these failures. Now, if you don't know what a design system is, essentially it's a set of reusable elements and components, guidelines and principles that helps engineers and designers build efficiently. They help your product scale and they help you build cohesive product experiences. It's like the source of truth that keeps consistency across teams. So it helps you speed up your work, it helps you maintain accessibility. But yeah, my takeaways from this episode are a design system fails when the team treats it like a document, not a living product. Because your design system is a living product, it's something that is living, it's breathing. I remember when I was first learning about design systems, one thing that really caught me, everybody said it is a living and breathing system. It's going to evolve, it's going to change, you need to iterate on it. It needs ownership, it needs constant iteration, right? And it needs full adoption from the entire team. Now, this is something that's very important. You need design system advocates in your team. Every team member needs to adopt it or it's not going to work. So another thing we touched on, interestingly, is not every product needs a design system right away, and the best design systems are probably reverse engineered. And also, don't start your design system by building a button. You'll get the joke if you watch the episode, so watch it. After you watch this video, go and watch the episode. I'm going to link it somewhere, possibly, probably. So next up, we moved into something that everybody deals with. Episode 16 is turning feedback into career success with Victor Onazi. Victor and I explored how we can use feedback as a genuine mechanism to advance your career, to give you an advantage. Feedback is not something to fear, but something that allows you to grow. It's information, but it is not your identity, which is very, very, very important. You need to be able to separate those two, right? It's information, it's not your identity. And people feel like feedback is a way of judging their talents when really it's just a way to grow your talent, right? And my major takeaway from this episode with Victor is don't fall in love with your first idea. And this one hit me a lot. Don't fall in love with your first idea. For those who don't know, Victor is a product manager at WebMD and he's been doing really amazing work over there. Next up, we zoomed out a bit to look at the bigger ecosystem, and specifically we went to look for like the hidden cracks in the Nigerians fintech space. Now, this episode was quite interesting. It's episode 17, The Hidden Crisis in Nigeria's Fintech Boom, with Osei Ogubanwo. Now, this is probably our highest viewed episode this year, and for good reason. There's a lot of operational and structural weakness beneath the surface of Nigeria's fintech success story. Now, I'm going to explain why I'm sounding a bit cynical, but just give me one moment. So he explained why rapid growth without stability can quickly become a big risk, right? About 80% of Nigerian fintechs survive on old funding rounds with no path to profitability, while some truly successful companies never actually brand themselves as fintechs. They're just silently winning, right? And sometimes, to be fair, profitability is not the goal for some of these companies. Some fintechs prioritize impact metrics over profits. For example, maybe funds targeting some specific demographics. They want to see how the product does in the market for specific demographics so they can get data for the systems that they are building, like a small puzzle piece to like a larger puzzle. We talked about how due diligence is like life or death, and banking the unbanked is just banking the unbanked. Yeah, watch the episode. I won't spoil the banking the unbanked thing. Just watch the episode after this. Now, next up, we are staying on the topic of trust, and the next episode took us on to talking about crypto and the state of crypto this year. So that is episode 18, and the title is Building Trust for Crypto in Emerging Markets, and this was with Mo Dagogo Hats. Now, Mo and I talked about what it really takes to build trust in crypto products, especially in emerging markets like Africa, Nigeria. He highlighted the psychology, the educational gap, and the clarity needed for adoption in the crypto space. Now, the crypto adoption problem isn't just a tech problem, right? It's a trust problem if you really deep it and think about it. And trust is something that grows with consistency, and but you can help people get there faster by trying certain things. So, for example, building your product with a non-custodial wallet architecture. If you don't know what that means, the way Moore explains it, unlike traditional platforms that hold customer funds custodial, non-custodial platforms don't have access to users' money, simply put. So it allows customers to freely transfer funds without needing to really trust the platform to hold the funds for them. So the funds belong to the customers, not not the platform that they are using. This idea is what led Moore to build Zap Africa, which he believes is the future of uncensored and borderless transaction. So now we went from how to build trust in crypto into one of the most unexpected combination titles we've had on the show so far. Episode 19 is Fun Employment, Quantum Computing, and Building a Globally Relevant Career. And this was with Linda Ikichuku. This conversation was very insightful and very honest and surprisingly funny. If you watch the episode, Linda and I really just had a great time on this episode. She had recently quit a high-paying job because she lost curiosity at work, and how many of us can actually take that risk? She argued that curiosity is what sustains your job satisfaction, and that's what actually prevents burnout. She has built a globally relevant career, and she shared how you can do the same for yourself, right? So some of my key takeaways from this episode are: building global relevance requires you to be both a consumer and a creator, like import exports economics. You can't just consume content from global resources, you must also create and publish your own ideas. Very important. So it can be from writing articles, giving talks, being on panels, sharing your learnings publicly and allowing people to actually discover you, and this is what would validate your skills. Secondly, we also talked about how remote work has really blurred the boundaries between work and life, and this is something that has really made job satisfaction critical to maintain. Like, now that your work and your life is probably happening in the same place, it's very important to have job satisfaction, because the lines are very, very blurred compared to our parents, where it was very clear physically. Your job is here, your home is here. Most of us, our offices are in our living rooms, or you have a separate office. So your house needs to become a safe space, and your job needs to become your safe space, and you always need to continue to have curiosity, right? So losing interest in your job and you still having to continue to do that job just creates a 24/7 mental drain. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is just giving yourself the space to explore. Sometimes you may decide to quit your job, or you may decide to take a gap year, right? Or you may decide to go to school, learn something new, pick up a new hobby. So fun employment isn't failure. Sometimes it's strategy, right? And it was while I was shooting this episode that I actually realized what fun employment meant. So don't ask me what it means. I'm not going to tell you. Go watch the episode. And finally, we hit episode 20. And episode 20 was a masterclass in product marketing and competitive growth. So episode 20 is product marketing and growth, competing with big players, with the amazing Ruth Okoli. So Ruth really just broke down what it takes to compete with larger companies and win. We talked about positioning, messaging, and the discipline that is required to grow intentionally. She put a lot of emphasis on understanding your users better. And my takeaways were, customers need to see your product at least 7 times before making a purchase decision, right? This means that you need to have multiple touch points and brand visibility. It's a requirement now. Multiple touch points, newsletters, social medias, ads, websites, they need to always see your product. The first few exposures get ignored, but repeatedly it will build familiarity. And once they buy in, you have to shift your strategy to retention through like one-on-one conversations or value delivery, depending on the kind of product that you have. Now, consistent growth is a byproduct of having a solid product, because you can do all the marketing in the world, and if your product is not solid, it's really going to catch up to you. And one thing that Ruth said that was funny to me is, she said, don't become like the flashlight app, because there used to be like multiple flashlights apps on like the App Store and Play Store, and then before we knew it, they integrated it into like the core operating system of Android and iOS. So one thing that I admired about Ruth is that she doesn't just talk, she leads by example, and everything that she discussed could easily tie back to her journey building Nestuge. Nestuge is that platform that helps you monetize your audience and creates a community of recurring customers. So you should check out Nestuge. Looking back at these 9 episodes, one thing is clear. This year was amazing. There were lots of insights, lots of honesty, and lots of different perspectives. I'm grateful for every guest and every conversation that's pushed the way we think about the tech industry. Now, if you've been following this journey from the beginning, even from last year, thank you so much. And if you are new, you are welcome. This is the Pulse of Tech podcast, TPOT, and next year is going to be amazing. I'm excited for you guys to see the amazing guest lineup that we have. But if you have any special guests that you would want to see next year, you can drop their names in the comment section and we'll make it happen. Also, you can drop your favorite episode moments in the comments. I would really love to know what your favorite episode moments have been. And finally, if you are not caught up to all the episodes yet, now is the best time before the year runs out. Catch up on all the episodes, give us your feedback. We're always trying to improve. This podcast is something that started as a hobby, and I'm really trying to push it as much as possible, be as consistent as much as possible. As busy as I am, I still try to push it. We did 9 episodes this year. Next year, let's do more. So please like, subscribe, repost this, all that good stuff. Share with your friends, share with your tech friends, your aspiring tech friends, your investor friends. Share with everybody. So have an amazing day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.